Good morning, everyone. It's your girl Bree. I come here with a little message this morning. I will be coming from Ephesians chapter 6. And Ephesians chapter 6 says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment with the promise, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. And your fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training of the abomination of the Lord. Bondservants, be obeyed to those who are your master according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in serenity of the heart, as Christ, not with eye service and men pleasers, but being bondservants of Christ. Do the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as the Lord, and do not to men, knowing that whatever good anyone does, he will receive the same from the Lord, whether he is a slave or free. And you masters, do the same thing to them. Give up threatening, knowing that your own master also is in heaven, and there is no particular in him. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but the principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the age, against the spiritual hosts of the wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having to girdle your waist with the truth, and have put on the breastplate of righteousness, and have shorn your feet with the preparation of the gospel of the peace. Above all, take up the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. And take up the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Pray always with prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to the end, with all the perseverance and the supplication of all the saints. And for me, that utter may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak." Yeah, that is a message that I always go and make my children read, especially the first part. Because listen, y'all, I just want to tell y'all something happened last night. You know, I say children obey your parents, okay? But it also say parents don't provoke your children. I'll tell you about the incident that happened last night, and then I'm going to give you my take on this. So my little baby, my little 1-year-old, his name is Cornelius. Cornelius wanted something last night, and I didn't want to give it to him, okay? So Cornelius decided, and he's sleeping on me right now, that's why you see the yellow blanket. Cornelius decided to throw something at my computer, okay? And yeah, it's a screen protector, but he cracked it even more than it was already cracked. And now a piece of it is gone. So, yes, he's 1 year old. So I put him in a corner for timeout, okay? All of his siblings was upset about it. And they said that he is just a baby, that he didn't know, okay? And I told him that only a fool does not like to be corrected. That's what I told my children. I don't care if he was 6 months old. You have to suffer the consequences for your action on everything that you do. Okay? Now, enough about that. I'm going to talk about this right here. When it says children obey your parents, sometimes our parents don't be wanting what's best for us. Sometimes our parents be our biggest downfall. Our parents will hinder us from a relationship that God has for us. Our parents will hinder us from jobs, ideas that we have. Our parents try to deter us from that. Sometimes our parents don't want us to live our life because they wasn't able to live theirs. So they try to hinder us from doing the things that we were here to do and we know to do, because they didn't get to do those things. So they want to hinder us. So that scripture right there has always, always, always been something that I have studied for a long time, because for the simple fact is that sometimes our parents don't want what's best for us. They don't want us to elevate. They don't want us to get these things. And I know somebody's going to come and say this and say that. Everybody didn't have good parents. Everybody didn't have parents that supported them. Some people had to get it out the mud on their own. But what I'm saying is this. Sometimes parents does not want to see their children succeed. They don't want their children to be better than them. And that's just what it is. That's the truth about the matter. Sometimes parents, if you go and you say, "Oh, I'm going to school and well, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this." They try to downplay what you want to do and how you should do it. Okay? The next one. It says, parents does not provoke your children. Okay, listen. This is my take on that. Sometimes we allow our children, like me, I don't know what y'all do, but I'm just speaking on me, what I allow. I have an open door policy in my house where we can discuss anything at any given time, okay? Some parents feel like when their children are expressing themselves, that their children are disrespecting them. And that's not the case. I believe that children should be able to voice their opinion, because when these children are finding themselves being bullied or going through something, molestation and different stuff, they keep that inside because they feel like they don't have anybody to talk to, because we steady be telling our children, if they tell us, "Oh, you being disrespectful," we steady telling our children that, when no, they're not. They're just expressing themselves. And sometimes children express themselves with anger, or some children just young with authority in their voice. They just have that in their voice. They have that authority, and us as parents feel like they're disrespecting us by talking back to us or doing stuff. No, they're not. They're not talking back. So we shouldn't provoke our children. If our children come to us saying things, and they're maybe they're raising their voice, or maybe they're doing that, we should not judge them from what they're saying, because they're just trying to express how they feel about certain things. And as parents, we shouldn't provoke them. I mean, if our children come to us mad and upset about something, we shouldn't start, "Well, what you hollering at me for?" And we shouldn't do any of that. But we should be calm and talk to them and listen to what they have going on. We shouldn't do that. I'm a firm believer of when a child get a certain age, you shouldn't chastise them with the belt. That's just me. That's just my beliefs. I'm a firm believer of that. Especially if they're in a teenager, you can sit down and talk to them because they understand. They have communication skills. So I feel like you should sit down and you should talk to them, because we're really preparing our children for our future. So if we don't allow our children to express themselves, when our children get old and they get into these relationships, they're not going to know how to communicate with their spouse, because all their life they was told to be quiet, sit down, stop being disrespectful. They were told that they couldn't use their voice. You understand what I'm saying? So really it's a double standard thing, because you have to allow your children to be who they are and let them speak how they feel about things. That's my personal beliefs, that every child has a voice, no child left behind, And a child has a right to speak upon things. Okay. Um, then we're going to talk about being obedient. Okay. Children are a reflection of us. What our children see us do, they watch everything that we do. So if our children come to us and they ask us a question and we respond with an attitude, they're going to get an attitude back. I teach my children how to match energies. I teach my children how to shapeshift. I teach my children how to master your emotions. I teach them how to do that because, like, it's not always time for you to be emotional. Some things they're going to say to you are going to be hurt and cutting, but you have to learn to master your emotions. Well, I teach my children those things before. And the reason why I teach my children those things is because you have to learn how to be obedient and how to sacrifice yourself and be obedient to God. Be obedient to your parents. If you want a job, you have to be obedient to your boss, because obedience is very, 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 very important. And us as parents, if you tell your child no, you have to stay firm upon that no. Because if your child feel like if you tell them no, then you come back and ask you, and then you say yes, they got you. So you have to stick to firmly on the no, and your children have to learn how to be obedient. It is not easy raising children, okay? I don't care if you have a spouse or if you're doing it by yourself. It is not easy raising children nowadays, because nowadays it's so much going on in society that it's hard. If you have not bestowed things inside your children's mind and gave them things and sit down and have a conversation with, they're going to get lost. They're going to get lost. But sometimes these children don't want to learn the things that you are teaching them. They don't want to know the things that you're saying to them. They could care less about it. They feel like they know everything. And those are the type of children that you have to let find out on their own. You have to let some of them find out on their own. They have to be their each individual self, and you have to let them. Never force them to do anything. Never make them feel less than, because so much is going on right now in the world with our children. I don't watch the news, but my daughter and them, they talk about stuff at school, and my daughter came and told me. She was like, Mama, somebody shot up the school, and I would be so disappointed when they be talking about stuff like that at the school. And I said, no, I didn't know, baby. And she was like, yeah, Mama, somebody shot up the school and this and this and that. And I told her, I say, baby, that's why I tell you, when somebody's acting up in class, you don't need to be laughing. You need to be praying, because you don't know what the enemy is putting in that child's mind. You don't know what the enemy is putting in that child's head. So you don't know what dark place that child is in. You don't know what that child going through at home. So instead of laughing and talking about that child, you need to fall on your knees and pray for that child. Well, she was saying, yeah, Mom, and they got kids missing. And I was telling her, I had made a video, y'all, and I tried to upload it on my laptop. I tried to upload it on a computer. I tried to upload it on my phone. I tried to upload it on my children's laptops. I even tried to upload it on my little baby tablet. I took his tablet right here. I made a video, and I even tried to upload it on his tablet, y'all. And I cannot upload that video for nothing in the world. I have made a video about sex trafficking and about all the killings going on with these children. And for some reason, the devil don't want that video to get out. He does not want that video to get out. It is crucial. It is intense. It is a tense video. I have tried to upload that video more than 10 times. And it will not, under no circumstances, go out. Well, I was telling my daughter about these missing children. And I tell my daughter, that's why I teach her all the time to love herself and to have self-respect for herself and Don't listen to the broken promises. When she needs something, she knows that she can make her money doing chores to get some for herself. Be independent. Don't depend on a man. Because I tell my daughter, sometimes these girls, they be on social media, and I have a no social media policy. My children already know that. They will all tell you that. These girls, they be on these social media, and their parents is working and trying to provide for them, trying to make sure that they straight and took care of. And they'll see their friends with some bundles. They'll see their friends with the latest shoes, and they don't have it. So they feel left out. They feel left in. They're feeling like they're not worthy because they're missing self-love. So then they'll meet a man, and this man will promise them this and promise them that. Hey, baby, you want this, you want that, you that. And then next thing you know, they meeting up with this man, and their parents not seeing them no more, but they having a relationship. They letting this man know everything over this computer screen or whatever. And then these men are taking these kids and they're sex trafficking them. And these kids, they're doing it to boys too, but mostly girls, because these girls, they want to fit in so bad with their friends. They be so jealous and so envious because their friends have these things and they don't have it. But I teach my daughters to love yourself no matter what. Let me tell you, Gucci, Prada, and all the rest of that doesn't define who you are as a person. You heard me? Anybody, I know a lot of people dressed from their head to toe every single day. When I tell you, they dress every single day and so empty inside, so heartless, till it's a shame. Clothes does not define you. We have to learn to teach our children that. Do not be in this world, but not be of this world. So in other words, I teach my daughters, be a true, natural, authentic self. All that name brand stuff, that does not matter. None of that matter, because you die, you can't take none of that to you. People buy buku of Jordans. All they doing is making Jordan rich. When Jordan already said he don't care for us. That's what he said. So all they do is making him rich or whatever. People priority these days is trying to outdo and outshine the next person. And these children are seeing these things. So they're growing up. They're at school. They're laughing at the children. Excuse me. God bless, it's the truth. They're laughing at these children who are unfortunate to have the things that they have. And then they want to talk about, excuse me, y'all. They want to talk about the kids who don't have the best shoes, who don't have the best clothes, and don't have this and that. Teach your children that none of that is important. Getting your education is important. Becoming something. Each one teach one, so you can reach one. Learning your education so you can help somebody else out the slump and out the gutter. That's what it's about. Ministering to someone. I think the biggest downfall of the schools was taking Christ out of school. That was my biggest downfall. I think that's the biggest downfall. When they took him out, because he needs to be the center of everything. And I teach my children. My children have Bibles inside their book sacks that they go to school with. It's a must that when you have free time, you pray before you take a test. Before my children even enter their classroom, I teach them to pray before you go in your classroom, because you don't know what kind of spirits are in your classroom. So you must stay prayed up, and you must put on a full armor. These children are being bullied at this school, and it's ridiculous the things that they are being bullied by. They're being bullied by if they don't have colored hair in their head. They being bullied for like ridiculous things. It makes no sense that, or if they don't have a Nike book sack or something like that. Let me tell y'all, do you know how fast the mesh book sacks go out? Like, listen, if you don't start ahead of time, you ain't gonna have no mesh book sack. Trust me, I know. I've been there before. Book sacks go out so fast, like they just be bullied by stuff. Not my children, listen. None of my children has came to me and told me that they have been bullied, except my son, and that was last year. But none of my other kids have ever came and told me something about they have been bullied. None of my daughters have came and said anything about that, because they don't care. They like their mama. They don't care. Listen, What look good to them might not. It's never gonna look good to nobody else because they just like their mama, a plain Jane, and could care less about how somebody else feel. Y'all, I could care less about the bags, the all. None of that excite me. None of that excites me. And my children are just alike. My son and my daughter, they're just alike. We're not into all that. Well, these children, I know I'm getting off the subject a little bit, y'all, but I'm just telling y'all. These children are a replica of their parents. And these children need us. They really do. They need us. These children need some prayer warriors on their team. They're faced with so much of stuff, bro. So much of stuff. And I feel like it's so selfish of some of us to not. I pray for everybody's children. And the reason why I do pray for everybody's children is because I have a lot of children. I don't know what one of my children to find themselves into. So I try my hardest not to put my mouth upon nobody's children and what they have going on. Now I will speak facts. Facts is facts, and that's it. But as for like, say if somebody's child get incarcerated or something like that, I don't laugh and rejoice at nothing like that. No mother wants to see their child behind bars. I brought my children to a facility to see their father for a long time. Nobody wants to see that. No mother. And I feel like no mother should have to bury her child. That's just personally how I feel. And nowadays, there's a lot of children losing their lives over ridiculous things, over this petty beef stuff, about somebody start talking about the parent and different stuff like that. And you don't know people's struggle. You don't know what people's going through. You don't know the things that going on in nobody's house. So teach your children, bruh. Teach your children to not bully. Teach your children to love one another. Teach your children that love is the greatest gift that God has given. Whatever you do, do everything in love. Teach your children that be obedient to their teachers, because a lot of these children be disrespecting the teachers, uprupting the class, and that makes other children not being able to learn what they need to learn at school. These children are at school to learn, and they're not learning because somebody is corrupting the class. Listen, if you know your child is acting a plum D fool at home, what makes you think when the teacher calls you that the teacher is lying about your child? When your child is acting a fool at home and you can't control them at home, but then you sitting in the school and the teacher calling you, oh, not my child. Yeah, it's your child. Yeah, it's your child. Take ownership. Hold these children accountable. You heard me? That's my thing right here. I hold everybody accountable. See him? Yeah, he in trouble for doing that to the computer screen. Yes, he's in trouble for that. I hold everybody accountable for their actions, big or small, no matter what their actions may be. I hold them accountable for it. You have to hold your children accountable because these children need to be obedient. They need to be obedient to you. The mother, the father, the grandma, whoever may be raising them, need to be obedient to them. Whether you're around or not, what you have installed in this child should still go on. You should not have to be by this child 24/7, 365 days a year for this child to behave the way they're supposed to. You're supposed to go out and live your life and do the things that you need to do for you and your family. And your children should always be on the best behavior. You have to start installing this and having conversations with your children about respect, about obedience, and all the rest of this. Monitor what your children are doing. Monitor what they're watching. Monitor what they're playing. Monitor what they're listening to. Because predators be on these game systems. They be on those computers. They be doing all the rest of this. Doing these things. And then that's how your children get caught up in different stuff. And we're trying to save our children. It's too many mothers have lost their children this year. I'm talking about to gun violence, to sex trafficking. It's just too many of them. And from this mother to another mother, if I can help you to prevent that from happening to your children, that's what I'm going to do. I am on here to prevent as many things as I can. Because if I can, see, I'm going to read something. It says, my brother and sister, if one of you should wander from the truth and someone should bring that person back, remember the works turns a sinner from the error of the ways will save them from death and cover over a multitude of sin. That's James chapter 5 verse 19 and 20. So if I can just reach one, and that one can reach 5, and that 5 can reach 500, that's good enough for me. But as long as I'm reaching one parent, because it takes one at a time to do better by our children. The village, you are the village of your household. If your foundation is solid. But if it's not solid, it's going to fall. It's going to fall. Your children are a reflection of you. What are you putting in these children? Are you allowing these children to gain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? Are you letting these children know that the power that they're looking for is within them? That they love the love and the validation that they seek from someone else is already within them? Are you teaching these to your children? Are you teaching your sons to learn how to communicate, to love themselves? Are you teaching your sons that they should be providers? Are you teaching their sons to not disrespect women? Are you teaching your sons to do the things of a man that a man is supposed to do? Are you teaching your sons that the man pays the bills, covers the household, do these things? Are you teaching your sons? Are you teaching your sons that a man covers his woman? I teach my son all the time that a man, it is a blessing that a man know how to pray. It is a very blessing that a man knows how to pray. He not to go boldly before the throne of God. That is a blessing to me, that when a man know how to do that. Are you teaching your daughters how to clean up, how to cook, how to do hair, how to take care of something? Or are you teaching your daughters how to sit? Or are you teaching them how to be women of God? Are you teaching them how to conduct themselves at every given time? How to talk, how to sit up straight, how to carry themselves? Are you teaching them how to properly wash themselves and be hygiene? That's what we need to be doing. That's what our focus should be on teaching our children these things, on teaching our children how to be obedient, how to have self-respect, and how to have discipline for yourself. Teach your daughters to carry themselves well at all given times. Because some girls are shapely more than others. They develop more earlier than others. But when you learn how to conduct yourself properly, all is well. Teach them to love themselves. Self-love is the most important thing that you could teach a young girl, is to love themselves. Because once again, when you don't teach your daughters how to why are you doing that? When you don't teach your daughters how to self-love yourself, then it allows them.
What's wrong?
All of them.
Oh, you was getting one. I was about to put the other ones up.
Okay. Then when you don't teach your daughters how to self-love themselves, once again, they will come and they will meet a guy again, and the guy will promise them all this stuff, and then you promise them all this stuff, and then lay him in his bed for me. Then your children are being caught. Wait, I don't want them to be on camera. Then your children are being caught up in traffic and doing all these things. That's the biggest thing. Obedience. Teach your children obedience. Teach your children how to be disciplined, self respect. All this starts at home. All this starts at home with your children. Teach your children how to put on the breastplate of righteousness. The truth, the girdle of truth, that's the biggest thing. I can't stand a liar. Man. I can't stand it. I tell my kids all the time, don't try it because you know I already know the truth. So you might as well tell me. I already know the truth. Tell me. So, know your children. Study your children. Teach your children to be honest with you and within themselves. That's what we have to teach them. Because if we don't, they're just going to feel like they can do whatever they want to do. Say whatever they want to say. Don't let them get caught up in the hype. Like my son, he was playing the game. He starts saying this word. Oh, I'm lagging. I'm saying him. So I'm in here. I'm reading. I keep hearing it. So I go up and down. I say, what you lagging on? What is you lagging on? Where you get this word from, huh? Cut it. Right now. All this, the little people he be playing on the game say, boy, your mama don't play. And I be saying, no, it's not that. It's just that I don't want him to get caught up in none of that foolishness. That's all foolishness. That's all foolishness, Sam. That's all foolishness. I can honestly say that my children, yeah, I can honestly say I did good. I will sit here and tell y'all this. I did good because I was something else. You hear me? I was something else. But I can honestly say, as me being a parent, I did all caps on excellent. I did all caps on excellent. Just by them being some teens and accomplishing the things that they accomplished. By them not being in any trouble. By them being grounded in that word, y'all. I'm telling you, that's the best gift I could ever give my children. Is just reading the Bible together, praying together, and making them understand, getting them a concordance and a conjunction, and letting them know what thus says the Lord. That was the biggest blessing I could have ever gave my children. And I'm grateful that God used me as his vessel to install these stuff into these children, to lead and guide these children, to pray for these children and with these children. Not just mine, but other children also. I'm grateful for the good Lord using me because he really uses me to help these kids. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So,